A lot of our relationships fail today because we enter into these relationships for the wrong reasons. Not because she's fat and she's round, you know, and you want to rub her down. That doesn't mean that that is the foundation for a good relationship.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the light. Lion voice.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, King Rastafari, glory and honor, in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, and I am your host on this journey, and this is the Lion's Voice. Today's episode, we're going to talk about one of the topics that I said that we would talk about from episode 1, and this is relationships. We're going to go into the very touchy topic of relationships. And you know, this channel is really for younger brethren. You know, I really want to target our younger generation, the millennials in particular, but also Generation Z, you know, the older brethren that are, you know, university age, maybe late high school, you know, coming into their manhood, to try to impart some lessons that I've learned on my journey. And I'm encouraging all of my brethren, especially brethren that are over 40 years old, to start to share, you know, their knowledge and their wisdom with the younger generation. I think this is critical for us to move forward. A lot of brethren were, you know, grew up in single parent homes where there was no father, there was no man. They had to learn a lot of things on themselves and making tremendous mistakes along the way. So today's episode is livicated, you know, they would say dedicated. We, as Rastafari, we like to say livicated. So this episode is really livicated to the younger generation, the young men out there. Of course, young women can watch and they can learn as well. But, you know, as a man, I have to speak about what I know. So this episode is called Purpose Over Pum Pum and Dick Discipline. And I'm not going to say those two terms again, but I just wanted to let you know. So when I say purpose over, that's something there, you know what I'm talking about. And then we'll just call it discipline, right? Just so you understand the language that we're using. And this is for the kings. This channel, you see the tagline, building your kingdom while surviving Babylon's jungle. So as a lion, you know, I have a few points that I want to share with the young lions coming up. And the first point is your priorities in life. To build a kingdom, you know, every man has the opportunity to build his kingdom and his reality. That's a right that was given to every man by the Almighty. We are made in the image and the likeness of the Creator. If you're a spiritual person, if you're a conscious person, if you connect with spirit, then you will know that human beings are unique in that we can have a thought and then we can make it manifest in the real world. We can bring it into reality. That is an act of creation of divinity. Our divinity is also expressed in our ability to produce life. When the black man, the black woman, or the man and woman of any race or creed come together, there's life that's created and, you know, continuation. So by virtue of that divinity, as a man, you have the ability to build your kingdom on this earth. As Rastafari, you know, we recognize Haile Selassie as the king of all kings, but every man still is a king. And that royal distinction comes from being a son of the Creator. So if you're a son of the Creator and the Creator is the King of all kings, then we have that ability to become a king. And a king is different than a prince. A king has a responsibility. A king has a kingdom to maintain. The prince is in training. The prince is coming up. So we can use that for the younger stages. We can call those people lidge. You know, so this is not nigger talk. This is Negos talk. All right, so let's get into the topic. Purpose over that something there, and discipline. All right, so why do we say this? For every young brethren, you have to prioritize life in order of importance. In I and I humble opinion, your number one priority should be the Almighty. How do you relate to that divine part of yourself? How do you serve that divine part of your life? That has to be the foundation from everything you do. Whatever your faith, your creed, make that the foundation. Then, springing out of that foundation is, what is your mission? How do you serve? What's your purpose on this earth? Every man must know their purpose. And this is why I say purpose over that something there. Purpose over the distraction. Because in finding the purpose, that's how you're going to become your best self, your greatest self, which should be the purpose of every human being or every conscious human being. So a lot of our relationships fail today because we enter into these relationships for the wrong reasons. Not because she's fat and she's round, you know, and you want to rub her down. That doesn't mean that that is the foundation for a good relationship. And then because you go in with that intent, you know, and that's your intent, you might create a child. A life is created without a plan, without any intention of how that child will be protected and cared for, and then we recreate that cycle of neglect and of want. So very important as a young man to break these generational curses. Find your purpose. What is your purpose? What makes you passionate in life? So the Almighty first, then your purpose. Then once you know your purpose, then comes the Queen. This is the order of importance. You can't put the Queen before the Almighty. You can't put the Queen before your purpose. Okay, and I'm going to explain why later. Then come the youths. This is the kingdom. This is the order. So point number one, the Almighty. Every man has the ability and the opportunity to build a kingdom. Number one, a kingdom is not a partnership. So, you know, in modern era, everybody, you know, I want a partner, I want a life partner. You know, you hear a lot of language of partnership. I want the young men to know that if you're the king, that means you are the leader in your household. This is not a partnership. That doesn't mean that you don't seek counsel, wise counsel from your queen. She's there to give you wise counsel, but at the end of the day, you have to lead. Partnerships dissolve all the time because there's a disagreement in the partner. One partner thinks this, one partner thinks that. You know, they're both equal in terms of the weight of that decision, and so that disagreement sometimes is you know, the harm cannot be repaired, and they part ways. The businesses or the partnership is dissolved. If you're building a sustainable kingdom, you cannot have a partnership. It has to be a kingdom. That means that the queen has to be on your program. She has to believe in what you're doing, which means that you need to present something that is worthy. You need to be clear on what your direction is so you can lead and you don't create confusion. You know, we have a lot of brethren that are not leading, and this creates confusion because they were never taught to lead. So it's very important to know that a kingdom is not a partnership. Also, the foundation of every kingdom is spiritual. If you're not rooted in that faith in the Almighty, you will not stand the challenges, the ups and the downs. you have to believe in something greater than yourself, a larger purpose to anchor you for a lifetime in that relationship. Ones may disagree. We want to see the evidence of what you're talking about, and then we can talk. Building a kingdom takes hard work. It's very important, because Hollywood sells you the love story, the coming together, but they don't really go into what it takes to maintain. That part is not sexy. The monotonous work it takes to maintain a committed relationship. So if you go in knowing that this is hard work, and that's part of the journey and part of the joy, that there's no great man on the planet Earth that has ever been great without adversity. So when the Almighty puts adversity in your path, it's preparing you for greatness. Once you understand that, you can deal with the hard times that inevitably will present themselves in any relationship. And every kingdom needs a network. It's very important when you build your kingdom, even before you bring your queen on board into your kingdom, and we'll talk about that as well. Make sure you're building your network, you're finding resourceful people, you're adding them into your network, so that when the kingdom is built, you have the human resources that you need to fulfill your purpose and your mission. Again, it comes back to the purpose and the mission. Once you know your purpose, you'll know the pieces that you need in that network in order to fulfill your purpose. So very important. So we talk about seeking the kingdom of the Almighty and all his righteousness, and all things shall be added. That comes from the book of Matthew 6:33. And that's the foundation that we're talking about here. So when you're on your purpose, when you're a young man, you're coming out of university, you're coming out of high school, you might be going into a trade. Focus on that trade, focus on building the mastery, focus on your education and building your business while you're in college or whatever you're doing. That should be your focus for those early years. And this is why we say purpose over that something there. So until you build where you can stand and you can have that confidence, and you will know what type of queen to approach. Now along the journey, you may meet some queens. I'm not saying to be unrealistic and that you have to live like a monk. You know what I mean? Along the journey of your purpose, you will meet people and things may happen, and you may realize that, that was not the right max. All what I say is be safe. Do not create children while you're going through this process of your life. Because, ideally, ones would wait until they're in marriage. But reality, I don't know if that's going to happen. So, we have to talk about the reality. But try to avoid, be responsible along that journey. And that journey still should be your purpose, should be the number one thing in your life as a young man. Don't even put women on your mind, really, because you're not ready. You need to build yourself, and it's very important to seek your purpose. So in terms of seeking your purpose, there's a saying, very secular. We would call it Babylonian. So I'm going to give you the saying. I think it's from a rapper, and then I'm going to give you the wisdom in the saying. So I'm not saying I agree with this saying, but there's a principle in there that's very important. The saying is, you lose money chasing women, but you never lose women chasing money. So I would take out the chasing money part. I would say that you can lose your purpose chasing women, but you will never lose women chasing your purpose or pursuing your purpose. And that is because achievement is an aphrodisiac. Can I drop some game on the young brothers today? Them say me too old for dropping the game. My children tease me all of the time and tell me that, I don't know what's happening, but I like to drop some jewels on the young people. And I'm telling you, achievement for a young man, if you want a woman to really desire you. Let her see you achieve. Let her see you overcome. Let her see your competence, your excellence. This is an aphrodisiac, and this goes for married men as well. You can never stop achieving if you want to keep that passion. You know what I mean? So this is free wisdom I'm sharing. I've been married 14 years and been with my wife for 20 years consecutively without interruption. So in terms of long-term relationships, we live in it. And I'm telling everyone here, you know, you can't get complacent when you're married. That's part of the hard work that we're talking about in a long-term relationship. You still have to maintain, you know, your masculine frame at all points. So again, you know, the Babylonian saying is, you lose money chasing women, but you never lose women chasing money. We repurpose that for a conscious mindset to say, you lose your purpose chasing women. I'm a reformed gallus. When I think about all the times I spent pursuing women, if I, as a young man, knew what I knew now, I could have been, you know, creating a business, doing entrepreneurship, stacking resources, so that I could be further now in life. But hindsight is 2020, you know. The great thing is that we have the internet now, and brethren like myself can reach forward to the younger generation, and we can, you know, share these gems with them, so that they can continue. Pursuing the purpose, one of the things I want to tell young brethren, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is part of the process. A child doesn't just start crawling, get up and just start walking and just a walk. So no, a child gets up, they fall down, they get up, they fall down, they get up, they stand a little bit, they fall down. That's part of the process. Anything takes time, you know. When we started the Jamaica Music Conference, for example, it was a very small event, you know. Few people came. It was one day. We had to continue to work to build it, you know, until, you know, we saw it featured in the international press for the last physical staging in 2020. But it took time, and it's still building. It's still not where, you know, I would like to see it, or where our team would like to see the JMC, but we're still working at it. It takes time, and you're gonna make some mistakes. You're gonna learn. That's how you learn, because you can read a book and you know I'm the reading ras too. Let me also declare that title as the reading ras. But you can read all you want. When you get out in the field, on the battlefield, because we like to call life the battlefield, because life can be a battle. When you get out on the battlefield, you know, the theory and the practice is gonna be different. It's good to have both. So it's good to know the theory, so when you see it, you know, you have your reaction is better. You know, you can process things better. But the practical never neatly falls into, you know, the theory. So you have to be adaptable and know that failure is part of the process. And I recommend, ideally for brethren, build your kingdom first, then bring the queen in. So buy your first property, you know, build until you can sustain a queen, so you can have a queen that doesn't have to work outside of the home. Ideally, you want your queen to work to help you facilitate your purpose. If your queen or the woman that you are seeing is not willing to get on your program, if she has her own agenda, that's not your queen. Sever the ties and go. A lot of times we bring together, and that's why we grow apart, because there was never alignment. We like each other in that moment, but our mission in life is different, so it's going to create problems down the line. Find a queen that is willing to get on your purpose. That's your queen. You know, not just because you can get her in that moment doesn't mean that's your queen. Your queen will be ready, willing, and able to be submissive to you and to be that woman that you need her to be. And submissive is a bad word to feminists and in the modern era. But when a good example, if you read the passing of Empress Menen, in the selected speeches, Haile Selassie selected speeches, you see His Majesty said that she was obedient to me like Sarah was to Abraham. So that submission doesn't mean domination. Leadership does not mean domination. It means that you're willing to get on the man's program, you're willing to help, you're willing to submit your aspiration for his aspiration, knowing that your greatness will manifest as a result of your family being great, and you use your talents to build your family. Right now, most of our black women in particular are building other people's corporations for them, the hardest workers in these corporations, the backbone of the economy, but it's not helping our families. So we need to take these skilled black women and redirect that energy into building our family businesses, into building our own generational wealth. Because working together, you find a man that aligns with your skill set, the two of you come together, there's very little that can stop the two of you. So these are just some things I want to share with young men. But let me know what you think. Is it foolishness? If it is, drop it in the comments. I'm a lion. I'm sharing my experience with the younger lions, because at the end of the day, it's time for the lions to tell their story, and this is the lion's voice.
How about this? Some people want fix, some people them not ready for relationships and none. Moral code them hold pants slackness. Actors and actresses just watch them practice. When she see man and she think about her money, every weekend she a search for a dummy. Them your boy do a grind, them a study. Even though the boy know things coulda get bloody. If him book up in a hobby fine. Iron vice.